Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liang-ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsongkhong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubden Darshi. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice this evening, Guru Padmasambhava. Sumo Tanchen Gatso Duden Siddhi Duden Kama. All Dharma masters, Dharma lecturers, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma teaching assistants, temple and center directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do?
Hola amigo, ¿qué quiero mucho? Scoy, Ichiwa, Kimochi, Jumi, Yabi, Pirin Pirin, Konbanwa.
Today, we had the group practice of Guru Padmasambhava. We all know about Guru Padmasambhava. He is the first guru or patriarch of Tibetan Buddhism. And we also have said that he's Sakyamuni Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, and Avalokitesvara's union of the three deities. He's a transformation of the union of Sakyamuni Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, and Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. And he had no father, no mother. He was at the Dhanakosha lake. He's manifested on a lotus on the Dhanakosha lake. Back then, the king Zhisong Dechin invited Guru Padmasambhava from India to come to Tibet. And he was in Tibet for 50 years. Guru Padmasambhava, the Tibetan king Zhisong Dechin, and Shantaraksita, the three of them built the first temple at the Yanglup River, at the Samye Temple on the bank of the Yarlung River. According to the King Songzang Kampu's annal, he recorded Guru Padmasambhava that he's considered an Afghanistani, someone from Afghanistan. So where is the Uddiyana?
到底在哪里？
Where is it really?
很多人认为是在
Many
现
people
在巴基斯坦
regard it to be in the present-day
中间的克什米
border between Pakistan and India, Kashmir. People believe it's there.
祝仙石所写的是
But written in the Songtsan Campus Annals is in Afghanistan.
历史经过那么久，
So that's a history from a long time
这
ago.
个
He's an Afghan.
事实上在印度啊，在印度
In fact, in
对于
India,
这个印度的历史，
about Indian
当然他
history,
们是有记载的，
of course, they had
但是有时候是不
recorded,
清楚
but sometimes not very
有一
clear.
点交错，
There were some inconsistency in terms of the time and location.
他都是一个大成就者。
But no matter what, he's a Mahasiddha, one with the great attainment.
那么他有名的活母有25个，
His well-known consorts were 25,
就是
and the most famous one was Ishijoga,
释
Mandarawa,
迦迭瓦、卡拉
Sakyadeva,
西蒂、
Kalasiti,
塔西
and Tashi,
5个活母。
Tashi children, 5 Buddha
我们也
mothers.
尝过他的变化身，多谢左列、愤怒身、
And I have
多谢
transmitted
左列。
the wrathful form, Dorje Dore,
那么那只母老虎
and the tigress
所化身，
was transformed from Tashi, or manifested by Tashi.
我曾经问过这个
So once I asked
净美仁波切，
Chikme Rinpoche from
莲花生
Tibet,
的大师到底有
I
多少个？
asked, how many Buddha mothers or consorts did Guru Padmasambhava really had? And he
另
said
外一个
20,000. And
马上有一个同门站起来
there
讲，
was a disciple immediately stood up and said, no, not 20,000, it's 100,000.
有一个净土
There is a Pure Land
叫奥明净土，
that's called the Organ,
就空行母的净土。
the Pure Land of the
那有
Dakinis.
10万空行母，
There were 100,000
10万
Dakinis there.
这10万空心母在奥明净土的10万空心母，
There are 100,000 Dakinis at the Organ Pure Land.
他们讲都是莲花生大师的活母。
They
有
said
人这样
that
子讲，
are consorts of Guru Padmasambhava. Someone said that too.
很神奇的，
So
一
in
个
some,
很特殊的，
he's a very extraordinary
很伟大的
and very
密教性。
mystical, legendary tantric practitioner.
这密教的传承啊，
Tantric
刚
lineage
开始
at the beginning,
还是红教的传承。莲花生
that
大
was
师
the Nyingmapa,
第一个祖师爷，
and Guru Padmasambhava was the first patriarch of the Nyingmapa, the red sect.
那红教的传承
And the
是
Nyingmapa
传到
lineage
现在。
all the way to today.
那我的师父两名和尚
And my guru, the Venerable Mang Liao
是
Ming,
西康
was
罗浪上师的
was
最好的朋友。
the best friend of Norha Rinpoche from Xikang. When they were in Sichuan, they were together. So they were teacher and disciple too. So they're both teachers and disciples and friends. So Chinese Tantric Buddhism was brought by Norha, Master Norha. But during the Tang Dynasty, there was the so-called Chinese Tantrayana. That was at the beginning of the Tang Dynasty. Vajrabodhi, Amuga, and Subhagaraksima, the three Tibetan masters who went to China. They were considered the founders of Chinese Tantrayana. And there's also Mount Thai Tantrayana. Thai Tantrayana, not Taiwan Tantrayana. So Trijchen from Japan went to Mount Thai and studied the Thai Tantrayana. And then the so-called Shingon Buddhism. That was Kobudaishi, who went to Xi'an at the Green Dragon Temple. And transmitted by the Venerable Elder Hui Guo, that's Shingon Buddhism. So they are Tibetan Tantrayana, Chinese Tantrayana, or China Tantrayana, Shingon Buddhism, and Thai Tantrayana. And what the Venerable monk Liao Ming learned was from Norna Kutuku or Rinpoche from Xikang. Xikang is like Western Kham. And then later on, Norna Rinpoche invited Kongka Rinpoche, the Kagyupa and Nyingmapa. So the Norha Rinpoche was both Nyingmapa and Kagyupa. And Norna Rinpoche once had an office in Beijing. So most Tibetan Buddhism was through Norna and Kongka Rinpoches, were transmitted by Norna and Kongka Rinpoches. And in Taiwan, there was an elder, Sen Su-wen, who also learned from Kongka Rinpoche. In sum, the first patriarch of Tibetan Buddhism was Guru Padmasambhava. He manifested from a lotus. So he's a true and first Padma Kumara or lotus child. He's the first true lotus child. That's why lotus childs are very honored. The patriarch of Tibetan Buddhism, he's lotus born because he was born from a lotus. Of course, he's Guru Padmasambhava. From him I had the secret lineage, which was in meditation, when you entered the deepest meditation, I receive empowerment from Guru Padmasambhava. He's someone from long ago, and yet you could still receive empowerment from him? At the beginning of our practice of Guru Padmasambhava, he descended already. He came. For Guru Padmasambhava, as long as you chant his mantra to a certain number, anytime you invoke him, he would come. He stated that himself. If you respect the Guru, cherish the Dharma, and practice diligently, then when you think of him, he would come. People with celestial eyes just now, when we practice Guru Padmasambhava, anyone had the vision or saw Guru Padmasambhava? Please raise your hand if you do. One saw Guru Padmasambhava? Don't be shy. If you saw him, you saw him. If you don't, you don't. Or you didn't, you didn't. But if you saw him, please stand up and share. Did you see or not? Many people told me afterward that they saw, and then I asked, why didn't you say? Yes, I don't want to be known. What fame are you talking about? If you see, you see. You don't, you don't. Anybody saw? Please stand up and share. Not just me. Should be some people. Nobody wanted to say anything. You two again? Okay, I guess nobody else wants to say anything. Mr. Grandmaster, at the beginning, I saw Guru Padmasambhava transform into rainbow light, and then the rainbow light radiating upon everyone. Mr. Grandmaster. I saw Grandmaster and Guru Padmasambhava transform and be union in Grandmaster. And then said, Grandmaster is Guru Padmasambhava, and you're in charge of all Dakinis, not just 100,000, but 860,000 flying beings. Ishichoka Mandarawa was in union with Guru Padmasambhava and radiating light upon all Dakinis and flying beings. And thank you for all the Dakinis who descended upon the world. And to thank them for helping Grandmaster, and then if they are taking over any karma, they will recover. Anybody else? There should be. Jiaxing from Malaysia, did you see anything? From Mr. Grandmaster. Yes, I saw Grandmaster's Dhamma body transforming into Guru Padmasambhava radiating 5-color light, blessing everyone.
好，谢谢。
Thank you.
一定要我点名。
I have to call on names.
真的，我们刚开始修法的时候，
It's true, at the beginning of the group practice, he's here already.
就是有那种力量。
There is such a power.
所以师尊以前在修法当中啊，
So Grandmaster, in the past,
老师带去他的地方。
in my practice, I was brought by Guru Padmasambhava to his place, and then he bestowed upon me 2 kinds of empowerments.
啊，非常特殊。
Very special empowerments.
他们随时都在的。
So therefore, they're always here, they're omnipresent.
造访这个彩虹山庄的这个空心母的基地。
When you visit the Dakini place at the Rainbow Temple,
啊，南方意识里。
and also at the 140th Avenue Southeast,
大部分都
Dakini place, generally,
那种接受。
you should receive some special experiences.
那是空心母聚集的地方。
Those are the places where Dakinis gather.
这个好奇心的人，
Generally speaking, they don't like to be bothered by just curious people
抱着试探的心理，
or people who are just
虔诚的心。
just curious. But you need to be very respectful.
你如果太
Then they would
抱
be
着好奇
happy
心，
if you're just
抱着试探的心，
curious
那是
or
没有什么收获的。
not serious about it, then you would not have any results. Because they don't like to be bothered.
偏僻
That's why
旷
they choose a very
人迹不到
remote,
的地方，
remote,
聚集的地方。
deserted places. That's the gathering place of the Dakinis.
莲花生大师很伟大，他是密教人。
So Guru Padmasambhava is truly great. He's the founder of Tibetan Buddhism, and he can appear anytime.
我们讲个笑话吧。
Let me share some jokes.
世界上最痛苦的三角恋爱，
The 3-way love affairs that's most
零
painful.
食喜欢脂肪，脂肪
I like
又爱
snacks,
我
snacks like fat, and fat
这是
loves
三角恋
me.
爱
That's the 3-way love affairs.
有一次上化学课的时候，
One time in
老师要
chemistry
小明
class,
去拿
the
一瓶
teacher wants Xiaoming
20% 的酒精，
to take 20%
我没
alcohol,
有，小明没有找到，
and Xiaoming
就
couldn't
拿
find
了
any.
2瓶的
So
10% 的酒精。
he brought 2 bottles of 10%
你要
alcohol.
一个30岁的老婆，
And the
我就给
teacher
你2个
was
15岁
angry.
的可以吗？
If you want a 30-year-old wife, is it okay to give you 2 15-year-olds? And Xiaoming said, sure. 香港人问台湾人， The Hongkongese asked
可
Taiwanese,
以可不可以告诉
can
我
you tell me
母汤是什么意思？
what is the mother
台
broth?
湾人讲不可以，
And the Taiwanese says,
香港
no.
人讲好吧。
And the Hongkongese said,
台湾人
okay.
访
And
问
then
香
the
港人
Taiwanese asked the
可以
Hongkongese,
不可以告诉
can you tell me
母鸡斗是什么意思？
you don't know? Yeah, this is Cantonese.
是什么意思？
Mchito. What does it mean? I don't know, what does it mean? And the Hong Kongese said, I don't know. And Taiwanese said, okay. I don't know. At night, I parked my car by the side of the road waiting for the wife. And then someone by the window, are you leaving? And I was thinking, I'm not a taxi driver, no. And then he's giving me a ticket. He turned out to be a policeman. This may be the husband. Honey, just now Xiaoming's teacher called me. So Xiaoming is making trouble again. And Dad said, no. The teacher asked if we would consider sending Xiaoming to attend a special class. And the teacher said that his homework was a mess. When I heard that, my heart dropped. And the wife replied, don't worry, we can just accompany him. And the husband said, of course there's a problem because I wrote the homework. Xiaoming told his girlfriend, after dinner, let's get a ride on my motorcycle. And the girlfriend replied, can't you also say honey when you talk like that? You're not romantic at all. After dinner, can we ride on my dear motorcycle to go for a ride? Now we'll do Q&A. Question from Singapore. Lotus Tianhua. So, by reading this, will we get measles? Lotus measles sounded like that. Homage to the Supremely Noble Grand Master, I would like to ask for clarification. 1. Grand Master has saved countless individuals suffering from mental illness. On October 3rd, 2015, during the group practice of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Grand Master said that after curing one mentally ill person, another one appears elsewhere. Because karmic illness is also revolving, it is inconceivable. So is there merit? In truth, there really isn't any merit. So may I ask, why is it that after curing one, another one appears? Does this mean the karmic illness, after being healed and returned to emptiness, is passed on to another being, or is there another cause? Second question. On December 11, 2022, during the transmission of Guru Padmasambhava's rainbow body, Grandmaster said, Sakyamuni Buddha was about to leave the Saha world because he knew that in the future all sentient beings will become Buddhas on their own. Meanwhile, in book 270, what I know about the Buddha under the origin of the thousand-armed, thousand-eyed Avalokitesvara, Grandmaster wrote, Avalokitesvara wanted to know how good she had been in saving sentient beings, and the result was not one more or one less sentient being. May I ask? All sentient beings will eventually become Buddhas on their own, and sentient beings are neither increasing or decreasing. Seem contradictory. How do you explain this? Second, the Siddhikapa made the vow, until the hells are empty, I will not attain Buddhahood. If we say that all sentient beings will eventually become Buddhas, then Buddhahood is inevitable. But if sentient beings are neither increasing nor decreasing, does this mean Siddhikapa will endlessly serve sentient beings without ever attaining Buddhahood? Will Siddhikapa ever attain Buddhahood? So curing a mentally ill person, another mentally ill person will appear. That's the cycle of karmic illness. That's why there is no merit to be talked about. That's how I feel. I do feel that in general. That's my own experience and understanding. What is the reason? I don't know. Although I cure one mentally ill person, there's another mentally ill. Another one will be mentally ill. So everyone think about it. Why, by curing one, another one appears? Is that because the karmic illness, after being healed and returned to emptiness, is passed on to another being? Or is there another reason? This person, Lotus Tianhua, is really dazed. That's my own personal experience, my feeling. It feels like after curing one, another one comes. So that's why I said it seems like they'll never be cured. Let me give you an example. There is a saying, a man bagged many apples, and one of the apples would be bad. One rotten apple. So not all of them are good. Like when the teacher is teaching, the students in the class are excellent except one who's a troublemaker. There would be one who's a troublemaker. Or when you teach kids, many kids are abiding by the rules and they're very innocent and cute, but there's always one who hits people, pushes people. In one class, there would be a few who are troublemakers. That's all I can explain. In a basket of apples, there would be one who's bad, which is bad. And in a group of students, there would be one who's a troublemaker. It cannot be perfect that everyone is good. At the Seattle Lechang Temple, it's the same. Among the disciples, they're all fine, but there would always be a few that's abnormal. That's different. Wherever you go, it's the same. If you go to a company or organization, you say this one is no good, it's bad, but wherever you go, it's the same. Nothing is perfect in the world. So mentally ill people are not only in America, not just in America, and not only for the common people, sometimes for the higher-ups, the officer. If your mental condition is within the range, that's normal. But if you go over or under, if you're over, that's OCD. But if you're below, that's depression. But in between, then you're normal. So that's why in this world I found there's nothing perfect. It's the same with interpersonal relationship. That's my own experience. It may not be accurate, but that's how it is. So, curing one, then there's another one. That's my own feeling. What reason? I don't know at all. That's Japanese. I really don't know. So in a class, there would always be a few bad ones or troublemakers. That's how it is. You cannot guarantee that everyone in the class would be very good, would be excellent. Is there any other reason? Why don't you think about it yourself, Lotus Smallpox? Why would all sentient beings become a Buddha in the future? Because all sentient beings have Buddha nature. Doesn't matter how you reincarnate, eventually you'll become a Buddha. Because every sentient being has Buddha nature. In a bit, the Sakyamuni Buddha will talk about it. All sentient beings have Buddha nature. When he saw the Eastern Star, oh, it turned out all sentient beings have Buddha nature. I don't have to stay in the Saha world. I can enter into Parinirvana right away. But just so that Indra and Brahma invited him to stay in the Saha world. That's why he stayed. Otherwise, after he gained enlightenment, he wanted to leave the Saha world. Why? Because they would attain Buddhahood on their own. Why would he need to deliver sentient beings? That's how he thought. But Indra and Mahabrahma invited him to stay in the Saha world, and then he stayed. Otherwise, upon his enlightenment, he realized that all sentient beings have Buddha nature, and eventually in the future they all would become Buddhas and would have attainments. So all sentient beings will eventually become Buddhas, and sentient beings are neither increasing nor decreasing. Seem contradictory, but when you read the Surangama Sutra, you would understand. It will be talked about in the Surangama Sutra, that sentient beings are neither increasing nor decreasing. And all sentient beings will eventually become Buddhas. How should I understand that? There is no need to understand. You become a Buddha naturally. They all have Buddha natures. Why is it neither increasing nor decreasing? It's just a dream, illusion. Illusory dream. Dream-like, illusory. Even the dreams are not real. The illusions are not real. This will be talked about in the future. Will Siddhikapa Bodhisattva will attain Buddhahood eventually? Well, Siddhikapa Bodhisattva has always been a Buddha all along. How could you say he will not become a Buddha? He just generated a vow. And then he's just playing a game in hells. He's just playing a role. Or among the 6 rebirth rounds, he's just playing roles. Heavens, Asura, human, hells, hungry ghosts, and animal realms, they are Siddhikarma. So he's not always in hells, and there are also Pure Lands in hells. He was originally a Buddha. So maybe you're not satisfied with this kind of replies, but if you can contemplate on them, and then you would know eventually. In the village, there's a 65-year-old man who married a 20-year-old. And the neighbor said, Are you mistreating wife? Well, I'm the one who's her father is 20 years younger than I am, and her grandfather is 20 years younger, and I have to call him grandpa. So who's being grieved? It's the old man. Okay, now let's talk about the Surangama Sutra. Let me tell you, this excerpt is the most difficult to understand. Extremely difficult to understand. But it's okay if you don't understand. If you understand, you understand. If you don't, you don't. It's not that you have to understand or have to explain until you understand. And you don't have to understand. Else you can think until your head splits. It's very deep and profound. At that time, the world-honored one, Sakyamuni Buddha, gave teachings to Ananda. He started, and the great assembly. What is the mind? He was teaching Ananda and the assembly. So everyone can know what is the unborn endurance. This endurance, many people mistook this to be endurance, but this character here means wisdom, which means the wisdom of the Tathagata. Listen carefully. Sakyamuni Buddha wanted to tell Ananda and all the audience so that they can attain and prove the unborn, the wisdom of the Tathagata that's non-arising. The wisdom of the Tathagata is called unborn endurance, and it is a fruition, a state of attainment. What is unborn or non-arising? No birth and death. If you have the mind who discriminate or who differentiate between birth and death, that's not the mind. That's a clinging mind. But if you abandon birth and death and the wisdom of the Tathagata on the immovable ground, the 8th ground of Bodhisattvahood is those who have attained unborn endurance. There are no birth and death, no births and no deaths. That's the wisdom of the Tathagata. No births, no deaths, and the wisdom of Tathagata. So, Sakyamuni Buddha's Dharma throne is called the Lion Throne. Someone sculpted the Dharma throne, a lion on the Dharma throne. What does the lion mean? The lion is the king of the forest and fearless. So the fearless Dharma throne. You're free from any fear. So Sakyamuni Buddha's Dharma throne is called the lion's throne. And sculpt a lion on the Dharma throne, which means that the one seated on the Dharma throne is fearless. Sakyamuni Buddha's throne is called the lion's throne. So he blessed Ananda on his head. I have spoken on this blessing on the head. There are 3 meanings, and Grandmaster often give blessing on the head. 1 means to comfort, and 2nd is prophecy that in the future you would attain Buddhahood, and 3rd is blessing. There are 3 meanings: console or comfort, giving a prophecy, and blessing. So he blessed Ananda on his head and said, Sakyamuni Buddha started to speak. Listen carefully. The Tathagata always teaches that all phenomena arise solely from the mind. That sounds like Yogacara. That everything is created by the mind. Everything is manifested from the consciousness. Everything is manifested by the mind. All sorts of phenomena in the world are created by the mind. So that's... We often say everything is created by the mind, and we often say everything is created by the consciousness. Everything in the world is manifested by the mind or the consciousness. Everything, including the houses, the cars, are all manifested by the mind. They carry the mind. The Buddha often speaks that all phenomena are created by the mind, the consciousness. All causes and effects, all worlds, and so all causes and effects, karmic retributions, karma, and all the worlds to the smallest, finest things, including the germs, microbes. Recently, I heard Dharma Sister Shu Jin said that our beds are infested with dust mites. Can you see them? No. But on the internet, when they are magnified, they look really scary with lots of limbs. But you can see them. But even those are manifested by the mind. Because of the mind, they come into substance or existence. Sakyamuni Buddha said, Ananda, if everything within all worlds, even down to blades of grass and tiny things, you can't see dust mites or the bacteria and viruses. They have minds. Even flowers and grasses also have this mind. When traced to its root, they all possess actual substance, form and substance. So they all have their form and function. And even empty space has its name and attributes. So like the sky that we see has a name. Or air, rainbow, clouds, rain, lightning, thunder, hills. They all have forms and substance.
连虚空
Even the sky has its name
何况
and
清净
attributes.
妙明的
Then how could
何
the
况清净妙净明心
pure, wondrous, and lucid mind,
而自无体，所以真
which
心
is the nature of all minds, be without
应该
substance?
讲起来
So the true
还是有
mind
形体，清
should
净
have
妙
form
清
and
净妙
substance,
净明心性一
pure,
切心
wondrous, and
而
lucid
自无
mind,
体。心
which is the nature of all
应该是有
minds.
形体的，他是讲
They
意思
should
是
have
这样
form and attributes. That's what he meant.
一直研究下去，
If
若
you
你一直研究下去，
you
分别
continually
结坏，所了
investigate
知性，必为心者。此心
and
即
regard
已经
discernments, awareness,
诸
and
一切
cognition
色
as the
香
mind,
味触
then
诸
this
尘
so-called
事业
mind ought to
没有
exist
前心。
independently of all sights, smells, tastes, touches, and
他的意
sensory
思是这样子
phenomena
讲。
and possess a complete nature
若
of
你
its own.
很仔细的在
If
仔
you
细的深深的研究下去，
you carefully
你用你的分别
investigate it,
跟感觉跟
and
看
then you use
所了
the
知
mind
的
of
心
discernment,
所
awareness,
知道的所有的
and
物质的性
cognition
以为心者，
as
那
the
个就是
mind.
心。这个心既应该离开一切色香味触诸尘世业，
that this
没有
mind
前性。
should be apart from all sensory
这一段一般
phenomena
来讲
and possess a
是很
complete
难
nature of its own.
很难去分别。
This is very difficult to
我
discern.
是这样的认为啦。这一段的意思是说，你只要离
And this
开
is my opinion. If
色
you
声香味触
are apart from
这种六尘的心，
sight, smells, tastes, touches, and
你仍然有
mental
分别，
formations and everything,
仍然有分别，
and you still have
那个才是
differentiation,
真正的心。
then that would
如
be the
你
true
今
mind.
则曾听我法，你现在听我说法，
As you now
使
listen to
因
my
声
Dharma
而有
teaching,
分别。
discernment arises because of sound.
听到我的声音，
Now you're listening to
因而
me
产生
speaking
有分
Dharma,
别。
you hear my voice,
终灭
and
一
because
切
of that
见
you
闻
have
觉知
discernment.
内所幽闭，犹为
Even
化
if you
成分别名
extinguish all seeing,
你现在
hearing,
听到我的
feeling, and
声音
knowing,
而有分别。
so
就
now
算
you
你
hear
把
my
一切
voice
的
and you have
看见
discernment,
听到、
and then if
感觉
you
到、知道，
extinguish all that you see, hear, feel, and know, and
你
you
是
don't
守
hear
住自
anything,
己的很安
and you
闲的、
just
很幽静，
maintain
犹为化成
your
分别因子
ease
还
and
不是
peace
真正的
and
心，
serenity, and that's still not a true mind.
那还是自己独自
That is still your solitary
自己的接受，自己
sensation.
受到的那一种心，
It's just the mind
这个
that
也不是
you
真正的心，也不是真正的心。
experience or perceive.
我
That's not a
非
true mind.
认你实为非心。我不是讲说这个不是
I do
心，
not tell you to outright
你疑
deny
心啊
this as
维
mine.
系会魔
Rather, I
但
urge
是
you
你
to
自
closely
己好
examine
好
and
地再
contemplate.
仔细的想一想，再推
Think
一推。
carefully and
若
infer
离前尘有分别，分别性即你真
if the
真心。
discriminating nature that
若
exists
离
apart
开
from
了
the
眼
dust were your
耳
true
鼻
mind,
舌身意意根，
if you're apart from
那个
the
才是
eyes,
真正的心。
ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and the root of mind, then that would be a true mind.
若分别性离尘无体，如果你去分别它呢，
If you
离开六
discriminate
尘
them
就没有形体了。
and you're apart from the six dusts, then
实
you
则
have no
前
form
尘
and
分别已
substance.
至，
then it's merely a reflection produced by the dust. Since dust are impermanent, when they change or perish, this mind would become like turtle hair or rabbit horns. So if you are apart from the six dusts, without forms, without minds, then what kind of discernment would you have? Because the six dusts are not eternal in the Saha world. Like the houses, the cars, they have limited existence. When the houses are old, they are demolished, and when the cars are old, they will break down. Human bodies can change everything. The dust in the dusty world will change. Nothing is eternal. The so-called six dusts in the world. And the six dusts means everything you see, you hear, you smell, you taste, you touch, or mentally form. Anything that you see, hear, feel, know, are ever changing. Not one of them is eternal or permanent, like our human body. It will not eternally present. If all those disappear, then the mind will also disappear. So this mind is like turtle hair or rabbit horns, which is non-existent. How can a turtle have hair, or how can a rabbit have horns? Those are all illusory. Those are false. So at that time, your Dharma body is the same. It would be gone. Then who's the one cultivating and realizing the unborn endurance? Who? So if you understand, you understand. If you don't, you don't. So if you abandon the six dusts, because the six dusts are ever-changing, they are impermanent, including our bodies, houses, cars. Nothing is eternal, not even the lands. You say you have immovable property, but they also move due to earthquakes. The same with your body. So who is that cultivating? So you need to cultivate spiritually until you reach the state of unborn endurance. But who was that? So the Dhamma body too would be extinct. So unborn endurance is the wisdom of the Tathagata that has no birth and death. Without birth and death. The wisdom of the Tathagata without birth and death. At that moment, Ananda and the great assembly fell silent, feeling lost within themselves. They are completely dumbfounded, and the great assembly too. None of those. So hearing it, the same as not hearing. So the Buddha told Ananda, all cultivators in the world, many spiritual cultivators in this world, though they may attain the 9 stages meditative stability, what is it? The 4 meditation, the first, second, third, and fourth meditation, 4 kinds of meditations, plus a boundless meditation of the boundless boundary, boundless. Then there's 8. And then the meditation of complete extinction, that would be the ninth stage. So all cultivators in the world, though they may attain the 9 stages meditation, the 4 types of meditation, and then the meditation of boundless emptiness, of nothingness, meditation of nothing of boundless thought, and then the meditation of no thought and no non-thought, and then the meditation of complete extinction, a total of 9 of them. Even when they attain this meditation, still fail to attain complete outflows. So even if you attain the 9 stages meditation, you still have afflictions. So you can merely become an arhat because they are still deluded by birth and death. That's not real. Therefore, although you have heard much Dharma, you have yet to realize the fruition of sagehood. So although you have heard lots of Dharma, but you still have not attained anything. Now do you understand this? What can I say? That's all I can say. Seeing, hearing, knowing, and feeling are not the true mind. Everything you see, you hear, you feel, you know, those are not the true mind. So even when you practice the 9 stages meditation, the first, second, third, and fourth meditation, that's samadhi, and then you enter into the borderless emptiness, borderless thoughts, meditation of nothingness, a meditation of no thought and no non-thought, and then the complete extinction meditation. Those are the 9 stages of meditation, and you still cannot even attain arhatship. So Ananda, although you hear much of my teaching, but still you have not have any attainment. You have not reached any fruition. And you still mistook all deluded thoughts to be real. Because everything in the Saha world are ever changing. So this proves about all impermanences, that everything is impermanent. There is nothing. And he has not even talked about what is the mind or what the mind is. He only talked about what are the 2 fundamental roots. One is the root of the delusion of birth and death. So the root of samsara, and the other is the fundamental root of the attaining the marvelous, luminous true mind. Wow, it's so late today. Bye-bye.